In this video, I'm going to reveal to you 5 brutal truths about female nature. And if you can understand these truths and you can apply them to how you interact with women, you'll be able to create better relationships and attract women on your terms. Let's go ahead and dive in. The first truth that I want you to understand is that women respect value. So many men get confused about this or overlook it because they don't know how the real world works in terms of dating. But you give me a man who's an action taker, who puts himself out there and who puts his best foot forward, and you give me a man who has lots of value, and women will gravitate to the man who has value. This is a clear and simple fact. Women respect value. The men who create and who attain and who retain the most value in life will be the most respected by women. This doesn't always mean that that translates to results, because there needs to be a level of competence with how you attract women, like how good your game is, how good your leadership ability is, how good your communication skills are. But women do respect value, and value is one of the biggest factors in if you will be creating relationships. Back when I was in the pickup community, I used to be around a lot of guys that were action takers, but their value was so low. And as I grew as a man and worked on my value, attracting women and building relationships became easier because women began to respect me more. Now, this is in a way sad, but at the same time, it's just the way the real world works. So if you're trying to go out and attract women, or trying to build relationships, or trying to build a great circle, and your value is not matching the action that you're taking, you're going to have a more difficult time, and it's going to be like climbing an uphill battle. Do you want it to be uphill and difficult, or do you want it to be easy and simple? Women will respect your value. The second brutal truth that you need to understand about female nature is that desperation and neediness is a turnoff because it's an evolutionary signal of weakness. This is one of the biggest things. I have a cousin of mine who I love him. He's a great human being, but when it comes to dating and relationships, he never figured out how to interact with women without being needy, without being desperate. He would go from one girl to another, hoping that he gets a chance with her, hoping that she is into him, hoping that she's invested in him. And what will happen is women will always give him a bit of attention because he looks okay, he's got some value, but because he always becomes so desperate and needy and he does not have other options, the respect that she has for him is lost every single time within a few weeks. There's guys I talk to on Instagram when I'm building connections and building relationships with the men who follow me online, and I hear these conversations of guys who are jumping from one half relationship to another, hoping that it's going to work out, but they're so desperate, they're so needy for the validation and attention of one girl that they miss out on what could be amazing results and having many women attracted to them, and eventually creating an amazing relationship where they have respect from this woman, and they don't get that respect because they're desperate and they're needy. Desperation and neediness is an evolutionary signal of weakness. It shows the girl this man does not have options, and as a result of him not having these options, he would not be good for me to have children with. He would not be good for me to invest in long term. Now, she's not thinking, do I want to have children with this man or not? But that is what dating is right now. It's a simulation of procreation. It's a simulation of which man would I bond with and create a family with. Even hookup culture is still based on these evolutionary adaptations and these evolutionary traits. So if you're showing evolutionary traits of weakness, of I am not the guy that women desire, I don't have resources, I have very limited options, I need this to work, you're going to inevitably have fewer options and less respect from women. So you don't want to be desperate, you don't want to be needy. It's a massive turnoff. The third brutal truth about female nature is she wants to fall in love with your path. This means the whole path. There's a client that I'm working with right now in our consulting program, and he's very advanced with women. He's been with close to 100 women, but he hasn't had consistent relationships. He has girls that like him. He has options of women to date, but his relationships always fall short, and he tends to struggle with the quality of the women he's meeting or the investment that they have in him. And the reason why he always struggles with this quality is because women are not falling in love with his whole path. This is very nuanced, and it's more of an advanced concept, but women will give you the respect that they think you deserve based on what they know about your path. So as an example, let's say that you interact with the woman and it's like a quick hookup and she doesn't really know much about you as a man and know about your values. The sex is just okay. She doesn't really know who you are. You haven't shared much about yourself. That hookup may or may not turn into something more if you want it to, but the cards are going to be in her hands. It's not going to be like you have control over how this woman sees you. Whereas if you share your full path with her, talk about your values, your ideas, your beliefs, your journey as a man, that woman is more likely to buy into you very deeply and understand who you are, understand your perspectives, and say, this is a man that I need to pursue. So women are going to fall in love with your path. They don't just want to share and talk all about themselves and then see what happens from there. Women actually fall in love with your path as a man. So if she understands your boundaries, if she understands your value systems, and she understands the path that you are on in life, the ability for you to create an incredibly deep relationship is so high. I've done this with girls where they understand that I'm the kind of guy who's going to meet other women. They understand that I'm going to meet other girls, and as a result, I'm able to do things like have threesomes with them because they understand those values. There's actually a point that we're going to bring up later that refers back to this idea, basically how some women change the rules that they have for other guys, but we'll get there at point number 5. Number 4, and this is a really important truth about female nature, is women operate through subtext, not text. You ever wonder why, if a woman says, do I look good in this outfit? And you give her kind of the truth, why she flips out? It's not because you gave her the truth. It's because what is the subtext attached to that truth? If you say, it looks okay, I think you could wear something better, and she gets mad, the subtext in that is maybe you don't think she's good enough and your attraction to her is lowered, which would really hurt her. Women pay attention to subtext way more than we do as men. She interprets the value behind your words and the meanings behind your words. This is why, as a high value communicator, it's so important that you master understanding and communicating through subtext. What is the meaning behind your words? What does it mean when you say certain things? How does she understand what you communicate and what you share with her? This is massively important. Women will operate through subtext, not just through text. The 5th brutal truth of female nature that you must understand, and this is my favorite one: women make rules for some guys and break rules for others. The same girl that you would have to take on 4 dates before you can sleep with her, the same girl that doesn't want to kiss you because she thinks it's moving too fast, will go on vacation in Ibiza and suck some dude's simply because he's the kind of guy that she was looking for in that moment, and she'll never see him again. Women make rules for some guys and break rules for others. I can't tell you how many times I've worked with clients and they've told me about a girl they were dating in the past, a girl they were seeing, and that girl had such strict rules about sex, what she would do, what she would not do, and then he hears from a friend a year later or 6 months later, or finds out that she's hooking up with some guy who looks completely different than him, and she's doing crazy things with that guy. Why? Because women make some rules for some guys and break those rules for others. You don't want to be the guy that she's putting up those rules for. Of course, there's some boundaries women are going to have personally based on their own experiences. But if she's making rules about, I can't, be this way intimately, or I can't express myself this way, I have to show you a very relationshipy version of myself very quickly and make you work for this. If that's what you're experiencing, my friend, you are becoming a victim to one of the brutal truths of female nature. When you are the kind of man that she will not make those crazy strong rules for, and she will express herself with, and she will be her most sexual, most passionate, most intimate self, when you're that kind of man, the version of her you'll experience is going to be one of the best versions of her, the most open version of her. You don't want to be the guy where she's putting up these barriers, putting up these obstacles for. That's not who you want to be. Ultimately, if you want to be the guy who doesn't have to experience these brutal truths about female nature, where you're the kind of guy that women will not set these crazy barriers and crazy unnecessary boundaries for, and they'll just respect you and want to invest in you, what you need to do is learn how to attract more women. And the way you can do that is by watching a free training that I've created that explains to you how you can attract 2 to 4 new women every single month without chasing lots of women, wasting time with girls that don't really want you back, or just swiping endlessly on Tinder hoping you get a match and get lucky. We don't want you to get lucky. I don't want you to get lucky. I want you to have control over how you date, and the training I created below talks about that. It's the first link down below. I'm giving it to you for free, and it explains how you can start attracting 2 to 4 new women every month by using 4 very simple steps that anybody can do if they take action and apply themselves. Have an amazing day, and I will see you on our next training.